Sam, is it raining where you are today? Or are you guys getting sunny weather?
No, we're getting some weather. It's cool outside and it's been raining for the last hour or so. How about you guys?
Really?
Yeah.
No. My daughter is in College Station and she said it's just been pouring since like 4 in the morning, but we have no rain here in Dallas.
Let's get a couple of days of this, which is okay. We'll take it.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, it's only 11:59, so we'll give a couple of minutes for everyone to join. But yeah, I'm glad to hear. I mean, it sounds like people are ramping up, getting ready for the market, so that's good. I'm glad to hear you guys are getting busier and busier.
Yeah. It's nice after 2 years of a drought.
Yeah, I think everyone's happy about that. Um, yeah, we look forward to seeing you guys at conference.
Yeah.
September, it'll be here in no time.
Yeah, I'm actually September, it's the 8th, right? 8th, 9th, something like that.
We'll be there starting on Saturday. There's an event on Saturday, so we're going to be there for the Meow Wolf event. They just share the information on it, so that will be a fun event just to network before the conference actually start. And then we'll have like actual meetings and collab labs and everything starting on Sunday. So a lot of people are coming in on Saturday night, so that will be fun.
Meow Wolf, where you go through all these little rooms and this and that.
I haven't been yet, but it looks amazing. We can't wait to check it out.
Right, right, right.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining. We're going to just give it a couple more minutes so that everyone has a chance to log in, and then we'll get started. We appreciate your time. I think we have a Meow Wolf here in Dallas too, but haven't been there yet. I'm
But
gonna save it for our trip to Denver so I can experience it for the first time.
yeah, there's one in Grapevine.
Yeah,
There's one in Denver. Yeah.
it's really colorful.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks really cool.
I think so too. It'll be a fun event.
Great venue because it makes it interactive, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah, it'll make for great pictures too for social, for like,
Absolutely.
business posts and so forth too.
Really colorful.
Well, Sam, should we get started, you think?
Sure.
Okay, great. Well, hi everyone. Thank you for joining the TMC Partners webinar today. Just a reminder, the session is being recorded and we'll be sharing the recording with everyone after the webinar. Everyone is on mute, but we love to hear from you. So if you have any questions, please drop it in the chat. And, Sam will be able to answer your questions towards the end of the webinar. We want to welcome Sam Mehta, founder and CEO of Verity Global Solutions, for joining us today to talk about outsourcing and whether or not it's right for you. So Sam, you started your career manufacturing critical components for like aerospace, semiconductor, oil and gas industry. So you've been helping to optimize like workflow and helping increase profitability, profitability for a long time. With
Mhm.
the rebound, in the near future and profitability being like top of mind, um, outsourcing has been a topic of interest for our members. What should we know about outsourcing?
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me, Mimi. Yeah, so I come from a long history, 3 generations of manufacturing. Myself, my brother, my dad, my grandfather, we're all from manufacturing, and I um, I have a background in process engineering, and it's one of those things that um, my brain always goes towards, process and how do you optimize and how you turn it into a meaningful solution. And I had a couple of friends of mine that were in the mortgage industry that called me up one day and said, "Hey, by the way, our manufacturing is all in India." They called me up and said, "Hey, we want to set up some operations in India. How do we do it?" Right? Because, margin compression has always been a real thing in the mortgage industry, at least for the last several years.
Mhm.
And so I was like, it sounds similar to what I do on a daily basis from a manufacturing standpoint. It intrigued me. So I said, we can do that. So that's how Verity was formed, about 8 years ago. Called my brother saying, "Hey, there's this opportunity, and we can maybe get into this mortgage business." And he's like, "Oh, sounds great." So he rented an office and computers and employees, and 20 days we had an office up and running, and that's how we started, all the way up to having about 1,500 employees in 2021. So it was a fun ride. Um, so when it comes to outsourcing, it's been a full journey because the clients that we work with are highly appreciative of what we're able to do for them, and how we're able to enhance our operations. So I have this presentation here, but I'm not going to really spend a lot of time on it. We're just going to talk through some of the points of it. So try to make it more informative and maybe a little more interactive. Uh, so everybody knows, and I'm answering a question a little bit long way, just jumping into the presentation a bit, right? Um, so everybody is familiar with the challenges in the mortgage industry, especially when it comes to profitability. And we've had a couple of very challenging couple of years. And this is something that's top of mind for most people is, hey, how do we stay profitable? What do we do? What we always recommend to our customers, and this is common sense, and everybody already always does it, but just a reminder, right? You review your P&L constantly, and obviously you want to look at what your biggest offenders are, and offender is the wrong word, but you know what I mean. The highest expense typically tends to be labor.
Mhm.
And so what we suggest to our customers is, when it comes to mortgage operations, if you look at each piece of work that's done when it comes to producing a loan, uh, optimize match the right skill with the work. So what I mean by that is, uh, you know, especially with today after COVID, with the ability to use instant communication, instant file transfer, what's become extremely prevalent, it's almost the norm at this point, is you can do the right skill at the right price no matter where it is in the world. And then the aggregation of all those components, pretty much like manufacturing, gives you a full assembled component, which is your loan. And that really is where you get the most lift, right? So that's kind of the overall concept of how we're able to help our customers, right? So the other option, obviously, there's ways to automate work, and there's ways to uh, basically use labor that is more cost competitive from other countries, and that's where we come in. And we kind of play in both areas. We have an automation team. We have a labor team. And by the way, I know these are Verity slides. I'm trying to be informative more than marketing, so pardon me, but I can't help myself a little bit. But it's supposed to be an informative session more than anything. So the challenge with automation, there is technology out there. Obviously it's not cheap. Number one. Number two is we're not. Eventually, it will get there at some point. But even
Mhm.
today, there is this whole situation where there's a lot of exception management. So it's not like you can let it just run on its own. You still have to manage the exceptions. And what we found is automation companies coming to us saying, "Hey, we have this technology, but our customers are interested in a full solution, not 60% or 50% with an exception." So, what we're doing is we're helping customers run this technology, manage the exceptions, right? So, what it does is it creates a 100% solution by having technology and labor, mixed together. So, and one of the things that I talk about is what I talked earlier is everybody should have a manufacturing assembly mindset, right? So the sum of the parts is equal to the lowest cost of producing a loan. That's kind of something important to relay when it comes to your business and how you want to think about it, because that is really what this is all about. Is how do you leave the most strategic, high value tasks with your team, such that,
Mhm.
like managing a borrower relationship, right? Strategic thinking, problem solving. And in a situation like that, you can then trust a partner like Verity or another company like ours to help you with more of the assembly line work, whether it's checklist based, SLA based, repetitive work, so that you're kind of segregating the work. Like exemplify this more over here. So if you look at, again, going back to the P&L, looking at your labor cost, if you go back and equate each employee's hourly rate, right? The question is every employee spending most of their time doing the highest value work, right? So
Mhm.
what I mean by that is, uh, I'm looking give an example of a week, right? Or the greens are when the employee is doing strategic highest value work. Say an underwriter that gets paid like $50 an hour, for example, right? Are they doing green work all week long, right? Or are they doing work that's way below their what you're paying them for, right? So all these orange boxes are the opportunities for automation or outsourcing, if that makes sense, right? So the idea is you
Yeah.
aggregate all this work together and come up with a full customer loan production. So this is kind of just a recap of the overall message of what I talked about. Do you have any questions, Mimi, or
Well, how does a company get started? I mean, like how do you create, what is the critical success factors?
right? So doing this exercise at your business level and figuring out the opportunities for utilizing a global team is really a big part of it, right? Identify automation opportunities and identify opportunities for work that can be done. And this is a very mature model, right? So going back to uh, at least a couple of decades, all the large multinational banks in the world have had operations centers in India. So there's a whole pool of hundreds of thousands of people probably that are experts in the mortgage industry. They know all the agency guidelines, know the LOSs, extremely strong at all the work that has to be done here, but typically they tend to not be licensed. So it's more back office work, right? So therein is the opportunity because you have typically savings of on an hourly basis, 60% of the cost, which is pretty huge when you start looking at that green orange box example that I talked about, right?
Okay. Mhm.
So, so to give you an example of opportunities for outsourcing, right? So basically, origination functions is a big one, right? So call that a core function. Whether you have disclosure, setup, underwriting, closing, shipping. Those are all areas in which companies like ours have very mature, established workflows that we can do all the back office work and help provide lift to our customers, right? So that's called that a core function. A non-core function would be things we do like maybe mortgage accounting, right? So we have a full mortgage accounting team. So our team has an expertise in AMB, Loan Vision, QuickBooks. So you have this opportunity to um, take an overhead department like accounting and be able to save cost on that. And
Okay.
the teams we have are just solid experts in mortgage accounting. All the loan level accounting, all the AP, branch management, all of the above. They can do that and report directly to a controller or a CFO in our client's firm, depending on the level of experience they're looking for.
Yeah.
Servicing is another area, right? And then we also have a team that does Encompass support. We have a full team in India that provides Encompass support to our customers. So the core functions I mentioned and the non-core are all opportunities where companies like us or others have built all these workflows that if you engage with someone like us, we can kind of show you how it provides lift, right?
That's great. Well, Sam, what are some of like the um well, what are some of the unexpected benefits that your clients have like after implementing offshore solutions with you?
You know, one of the things that we found that was definitely a huge benefit that we didn't realize was, when you engage a company like ours, you're engaging us on an SLA basis, right? We have to produce a certain amount of fixed work every day, right? So in a
Mhm.
situation like that, where if you say you're engaging a company like ours to do 8 initial disclosures a day, right? and we do those and we provide them to our customers. What that does is it creates these events that the customer's team has to respond to. So what it winds up doing is it winds up creating this turn of work that essentially makes everything work like a machine, because you have a portion of your operations now that's doing work on an SLA basis. So,
Mhm.
work is produced, provided to you, you respond to it or take it further, and it just creates this efficiency that has been a pretty significant side benefit. You asked me also about critical success factors. Um, the the areas that we find, the customers we have found that are most successful with us are the ones that have a team attitude with us, right? There's some customers that may view us as a vendor and just throw work over the fence and get results back. We find those engagements can be mixed, but
Yeah.
a very important engagement is when we create some shared value. You include it. Basically, we tell a lot of our customers, listen, that is your team offshore. We're just managing it for you. Right? So
Mhm.
so they say, okay, this is a local team, and some people have actually given it a name like Circuit or something like that, where it's not even called an offshore team, it's called Circuit or Matrix or something, and that's how the work is done. And and our team offshore, gets on all the staff meetings. They celebrate birthdays. They really get to know each other because they're working together on Teams and Slack and things like that all the time. They're constantly on calls. So the offshore team, when it has that sense of shared value or shared purpose, like they're working for the same company as the onshore team, it creates a lot of success. And one of the most important ones I also find is just sponsorship or buy-in from upper management, right? So if you have the top executives of the company that basically have P&L responsibility that come in and ensure the success of that integration, that is a massive success factor.
So you had mentioned clear communication and how you guys have team conversations between the two. Is that how you ensure that, the communication keeps, I mean, it's like an ongoing conversation and it's clear communication?
It's pretty much like anybody in your team, except the team is sitting offshore. And like I said, with COVID, it's 5 miles or 5,000 miles. What's the difference, right? So it's become instant.
Absolutely.
And then our team works the same hours as our customers' team. So they're working the night shift in India, so it's working the same hours as our customers. So
Oh, wow.
they're always available, and this is what they've been doing this for years and years as part of their career, so they're used to it, right?
Mhm.
So that really is a big part of this. I have a few more slides just to kind of quickly show you some of the
Great.
opportunities for what you can think about outsourcing. But actually, and I forgot about this one slide here. Another important aspect of outsourcing is, we're used to ramping up and down, which is the nature of our model, right? So our goal is to make labor a variable cost for our customers. So if our customers' work scales up or down, I mean, if it scales down and they have to give us a notice to say, hey, listen, we're not going to need these people, it's not going to hurt our feelings because that's what we were designed to do, right? So we're able to spread the work out among multiple customers. Maybe one customer has a less need, we can move that person to another customer, right? So we move them within the organization. So a reduction in staff for our customers is not always a reduction of staff for us, right? So we can help buffer that model. The other thing that we had a customer tell us a few years ago that was pretty interesting. He goes, the company's morale was higher by working with our team because when it comes time to the end of the month or crunch times, our offshore team was supporting them to the extent that they were still at the end of the month, going home on time and not working a lot of overtime, this, that, and the other, and it kind of helped boost the company morale, and they start building friendships with the offshore team that also has a pretty good benefit from a culture standpoint. So if you think about not having to scale your team up and down, having a lot of layoffs, this, that, and the other, by moving some of that burden onto us, right? It makes a difference from morale and culture and all those areas, the soft stuff, right? So let me just kind of quickly. So here's some examples of outsourcing functions. These are more core functions, and I'm going to share this presentation so everybody in this call will get a copy of this to kind of see what some of these functions are. But this is a lot of information. But QM support, non-QM support, I mentioned accounting, we have title, Encompass. If you look at, these are all the mortgage accounting services that we talked about. And again, I'll share this slide. Mortgage servicing. This is another thing to look at. I mentioned Encompass support. So, our team can do level 1, level 2 type work, report directly to the customer's admins. And, we can create rules, pages, buttons, etc. And also manage the entire ticketing system. Then I mentioned title settlement. So that's kind of the end of the overall discussion. So I don't know how I did on time. I rambled through that a little bit, but happy to. Yeah.
You're doing great on time. In fact, we didn't realize all the services that you're able to outsource. So that's terrific. Now, Cliff does have a question. Can we? Do we have
Sure,
a moment,
absolutely.
Sam? Can we? Okay, great.
Yeah.
So Cliff asked if you could talk about the importance of governance and contract management for the success of an outsourcing relationship.
Could you repeat that question? Sorry, me.
Yeah. He wants to know about the importance of governance and contract management for the success of an outsource relationship.
So when you say from a governance standpoint, I'm gonna touch on a few things broadly. One is IT security, right? That's a big one for most people. We are, and our competitors, some of our competitors are as well. We're both ISO certified and we have SOC 2 compliance. SOC 2 compliance. So that's the pretty high level of IT security standards. Important thing to mention from a governance standpoint is that Verity works in our customer system, whether it's through VPN or RDP or things like that, right? So it's a very important distinction to make, is that we are working in the customer's LOS, working in the customer system. We do not download anything on our side. So our systems are locked down, that nobody can download anything on their computers, and everything is done via our company servers or through AWS and things like that. So from a governance standpoint, that eliminates a lot of the concerns in that regard. And I'm broadly covering governance. I didn't mention also, we have a full QC team. So we also do post-close QC. We're rated by DBRS, and we offer a complete QC solution. So we're constantly updating all the agency guidelines. We're subscribed to all regs. We know everything that has to be updated from a mortgage compliance standpoint. And the other thing to mention is that we are not licensed, so we do not do work that requires a license. So we will not talk to your borrowers. We don't underwrite a loan. We have a pre-underwrite function that we perform, but we don't actually do the final decision, right? Mm-hmm. So we have all this knowledge to make sure that we keep our customers out of trouble. So for example, a state like New York, we don't, it's a tough state. We don't do a lot of work there. We can offer accounting services, maybe QC services, but outside of that, we pretty much don't do anything in that area. We're making sure we do only things that we are allowed to do. Mimi, you think I answered that question sufficiently, or anything else you think I may have missed there?
I think that was good. Cliff, do you have anything that you wanted to add to that question? I think you did great.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, he said that's great. Thanks, Cliff. Appreciate the question. Now, Sam, what advice would you give to a company that is looking to offshore their service for the first time? I mean, what are some things that they should consider?
So I'm going to unhide a slide here. So I don't know why I'm having trouble doing that once. Excuse me 1 second. Okay, maybe.
Yeah, of course.
Since we have a little bit of time, I'll touch on this. Okay. So I would say the most important thing about getting into this is, first, obviously get educated. Make sure you've talked to, a couple of companies like what we do and others do and things like that. You want to get a feel for how a company manages the integration. That's a, so we actually have a dedicated person in Dallas, Carol Berger. She's on vacation. She couldn't be on the call today, but she is a person who basically is in charge of the integration with our customers. So she runs the team building part of it, right? So how do we get uh, the customer's team and our team to integrate together, right? How do we get everybody to have the shared value that I mentioned? And then there's
Mhm.
other parts of it that are important. Some things that we have learned from experience. Like, for example, if we do a pre-underwrite, right? Initially, when we start the engagement, we are going to over-condition everything because we don't know how you work, right? So
Right.
there's like a hand-holding that happens for us to understand what's important for our customers, kind of what the overlays are and things like that. We will work with you to populate conditions in Encompass and things like that to make sure that we have a streamlined process. So in order to get started, I think the first thing to do is pick up the phone, talk to somebody like us. We can give you some more details. Other thing that we offer is we have complete workflows and checklists, which we can share with our customers to show them the full scope. Secondly, we do test loans. So if they can share some files with us or loans with us, and we will run a test for them so they can test what our abilities are and whether that result meets their need. Right.
Mhm. Yeah.
So those few things are probably the first place to start. Talk to people, run some tests, right? Understand what the integration is, understand the culture of the people, who you're going to be working with from the team, see if you can, see if that makes sense, and go from there.
Thank you. That's very helpful. Now, so once a customer is on board, how do you measure client success, their client's satisfaction?
Right. So a big one is we have a team that we have actually um, in-home built software that tracks performance and turns it into a report. So we're able to share with our customers volume, quality, any escalations. We turn that into a metric and percentages that shows them, hey, what was our SLA and what percentage SLA we met in terms of turn times,
Mhm.
how many escalations we had, if any, what was the overall quality score based on that. And not only that, we also have an internal quality score based on our quality review of our team and an external one that the customer has come back and given us any feedback on. And then we have weekly and monthly calls where we measure as to whether a particular feedback from the customer was an escalation, or was it a new training for us? Was it a critical escalation or a non-critical escalation? So we have those kind of measures that we review with our customers on a regular basis. And the other thing we do is we track, if a customer has a team of, say, 30 people with us, we're tracking the performance of each individual person, right?
Mhm.
So the idea is that we're managing a team of 30 people for you, and we individually come to you and say, listen, hey, we believe that there is a performance issue with this person. Is it something that's related to knowledge base, or is it something that's an attitude thing? And then we jointly say, listen, this person, we need to train them or replace them, and we make that decision with the customer. Unless, of course, somebody comes to us and said, listen, I need 50% more salary. That's a whole different story. So those are the ways that we manage a lot of that. And then we have surveys we sent out, give us feedback through SurveyMonkey and things like that.
Okay, well, that's good. So you kind of touched on this a little bit, and I know we only have a few minutes, but how do you approach like training and development on your staff to keep up with like all the changes that's happening within the industry or within the company and so forth? How do you guys manage that?
Right. So I'm glad you asked that question. First of all, it's important to mention that our team is fully trained on all the functions. So if we assign you, us or another company like us, if we assign you somebody that's going to be doing setup for us, well, they know how to do it, right? They just understand and know your system, uh, but they know the job. They know what has to be done and know it pretty well. When it comes to things like any changes in regulations, or like I mentioned, from a quality standpoint, all regs. We have subscriptions to all those things, and also we have constant communication with our customers. And most customers tend to share information with us, with our team, just like they do their team. So between all of those, it's a catch-all to make sure that we're aware of everything that's happening in that area.
Well, I think that's terrific. Um, do we have any questions? No, I think you're covering this pretty well. Do you have anything that you want to share, Sam, with us prior to wrapping up our call today? I think there's a lot of information that you have shared with us, and I think your PowerPoint presentation is going to be very helpful to our attendees. Afterwards, we'll definitely share that along with the recording. But do you have any words of wisdom that you want to share with us on outsourcing?
You meant if how much time do I have? Because then I can walk through these couple of slides. If it might be, it's more tactical, but somebody might get some value out of it.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is what we call a loan origination roadmap, and just to give people a feel for how this can work at a customer site when it comes to outsourcing, right? So if you think about the entire, call it the origination cycle, the client functions include, the LOs that take the applications, then they toss it over to Verity that can do the initial disclosures, right? We toss it back over to the LO for any kind of still needs, come back for setup. We can do the setup and be in touch with the processors for anything that's still missing, right? Then we have a pipeline management team. So these are different teams that are managed offshore, and you can kind of see what all the different functions are in those areas. So what we do is, like I said, we're like an assembly line behind the scenes that are constantly feeding information to the customer's team so that they're focused on the borrower experience, focused on problem solving, et cetera. Well, we're back there making sure nothing is missed, and we're making sure that the loan is constantly moving along 24 hours a day based on SLAs, right? So you look at an underwriter, for example. I mentioned this as an example to you. Verity reviews, AUS, we know the agency guidelines. We can do all the credit income appraisal title reviews, all the income calculations, DTI, cash to close, et cetera, and basically provide that package to an underwriter on the client side who spends most of the time making decisions rather than doing all that back work, right? Now, day one, from our experience, that's not going to happen. It's a little bit of a get to know each other type situation where over the course of 30 days they get comfortable with each other and underwriters say, okay, that's fine. I can now make decisions. But this is going back to what I showed you on the green and the orange boxes, right? You want to maximize for the best margins. The underwriter should be spending all their time making decisions and not doing a lot of the work that our team is doing. And then you have a lower cost per loan, right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
So I mentioned closing, shipping, and then we have a pretty extensive technology we use for quality control as well. And there's opportunities to save costs there because we do it from India.
Mhm.
Pretty fun as
Thank
opposed to.
you, Sam. Yeah, no,
Okay.
that's wonderful. We appreciate you taking the time to share, the why and what of outsourcing today. So thank you so much for your time today, Sam. And we appreciate everyone for joining this call. We will be sharing the recording and a copy of the presentation. And I believe we're going to have a transcript for you too. So thank you so much for your time today. Please do check out our calendar of events on the TMC website. And we hope to see you guys again really soon. Have a great day, everyone.
You